Hey guys, welcome back again to another interstellar episode of Tactical Ashigurami TV. And today, what we're going to be looking at is the art of CQB. Now, I don't know if I want to make this a continuous segment or if it's something that I want to do as a one-off or a three-part series just yet. But I did have a lot of recent gameplay footage that I felt was relevant to the topic, and I wanted to kind of mesh things together and kind of formulate something that I feel would be beneficial and would give, once again, more of an inside look on pretty much what the play style is in a lot of those situations where you have to deal with that space dilemma. So let's kind of get started. At the beginning of this game, as you can see, we got wrecked. We literally got wrecked. And we had to adjust in a lot of different ways and pretty much switch up our play style and our choice of kit going into the future games. So one of the main things that you really have to focus on is the space dilemma in terms of CQB, and the fact that it is really, really different from other forms of Airsoft, as I did cover in my last video that I did put out. You have to take into consideration that because of the bullet limit and also the fields that you're going to be playing on as well, and the game style, the game mode, that 1 to no life game mode changes everything dramatically. So the whole entire play style that you're going to be looking at is just going to be entirely different. So we're going to cover basically a lot of the I would say the important parts, just to kind of give really a foundation of this whole thing and what CQB really entails. So one of the first aspects that I wanted to mention was communication. So if you watch the video that I put out, the gameplay video, and also more or less the more recent video, you would see that a lot of the guys, especially on my team, more or less of them that have, really good experience, they do have a lot of ways that, they communicate, or how they communicate with each other, whether they're, if you're Japanese, native Japanese, or whatever the case is. And I think it goes for pretty much most players in Airsoft that use these skills to effectively and to efficiently communicate with each other in those high pressure situations. So what we look at is, how do you relay that critical information during a game? What are some of the things that you do use? What are some of the methodologies? So one of the common things that we used, especially in the Hexera game, was hand signaling, which it takes a while to really understand and to really grasp, what's going on during that time, and, and what each signal really means. But for a lot of experienced guys, certain hand gestures are very, very important, especially in those chaotic situations where, guys are playing and there's a lot of yelling going on maybe, or if there's shooting going on and you want to be able to give that information out without compromising your position, and more importantly, the position of other people that are around you. And that's very important. Now, I've been in situations where I've gotten kills and I've had people on my team call it out, people who I didn't even know. And because of that, the opposition, they were able to know where I was, and they were able to pretty much counter kill me just like that. So sometimes those hand signals come in really handy, and I think it's one of those things that you can kind of master them over time, more or less. I wouldn't say they're particularly difficult to pick up, but it's a necessary skill, definitely. I did do a tactical training course last year where we focused on these type of elements in teamwork and team-based operations, and pretty much how you can effectively use a lot of code words to communicate important situations. Let's say, for example, letting your partner, your teammate know that there's an enemy nearby, calling positions, because calling positions pretty much in that sense equates to confirming kills. If somebody knows where you are in Airsoft, especially in Japanese Airsoft with CQB, you're as good as dead, because all it takes is that one hit. So you got to keep that in mind. It's not just about your individual performance, but it's more or less based on how information is being relayed real time, and more or less experienced players really catch up on that. And you have a lot of situations where guys get slaughtered and it's more or less like a turkey shoot, and they don't really understand what's happening. And this is pretty much one of the main components in what's taking place. Also, planning and understanding your environment, right? You have to understand what direction you're going to be going in, what the plan of attack pretty much is going to be. That will pretty much aid you in focusing on your objective and knowing exactly where you're trying to go and how you're going to get there. If you're playing maybe capture the flag, or if you're on an objective-based game where you are trying to move from A to B, and you're trying to do it in a way where you can engage, you know, the guys on the opposite team in the right way, where you can get flanks, and it's all about positioning. So understanding where, you know, that map and doing a little bit of pre-planning beforehand many a time can be very beneficial when you're playing, right? Weapon choice, which I'm also going to talk about in more or less the next video. I want to kind of focus on loadouts and what I have been using, because I did make this promise a while back, but I feel that it would be very beneficial and relevant to what I want to talk about right now. But in the beginning of the video, many of the guys that we were playing with were skilled regardless, but at the time it did feel that we need to make that adjustment. So I was running an MP7 at first, and then, you know, towards the end of the session, one of my HK45s, the magazine had a bit of a boo-boo on the Tokyo Marui, so I switched to the Umarex HK45 CT, and that worked perfectly. And as you'll probably see in one of these clips, my gun did have a failure. I'm not exactly sure what happened or why my gun didn't shoot. It might have been a gas issue. But once again, I was able to switch my magazine out, rack around, and finish the job. So sometimes you got to be able to deal with those kind of situations. Adaptation is also really important. Peeking in angles and positioning is huge. Understanding where you are and where your opponents are mid-game and what that relationship entails for you is really, really big, guys. I can't stress this enough. You got to remember, lack of respawns. So not only do you have to understand that it's not a one-man show, and it's not just about your capabilities, it's about also the capabilities of the people on the other side. So you can't really downplay anyone. You could be literally playing a game with a 5-year-old girl. It doesn't make a difference. I say, respect everyone's skill as equal, and understand that this is equal opportunity. You understand? So you can't really write someone off. More or less understanding where you are, what you're looking at, what you're focusing on, and understanding that at any point in time things can change relevant to the situation. So keeping that in mind, focusing on the objective, especially in those CQB, those really tight situations. Understand where you have those angles, and if need be, switch things up. Attack from a different location, right? So say, for example, if you kill a guy or whatever the case is, or you get a hit, right? You score a hit. Sometimes you might need to move to another location, because you have to be able to adapt to what's going on in that situation. Sometimes you might be the only person left in that round and you have to move, or whatever the case is. So things can always change, and you have to be ready to deal with those situations and to accommodate those changes. Also, reading your environment and your teammates, right? So like I said again, remember, things can always change mid-game. You know, there's momentum shifts that happen all the time, right? Sometimes you have a lot of skilled players on one side and you don't have so many skilled players on the other side, and that can affect the way how the games play out dramatically. And when I say dramatically, I mean dramatically. I've seen it, and I've been in those situations, and when you're on the receiving end, it sucks. Especially when, you know, you pay a decent amount of cash to play for a day, and you're just like, oh my God, you know, you really can't mount an offense, and it's not even worth participating, let alone recording a game. So reading your environment, reading your teammates, even if there's a language barrier, especially in a lot of cases with me, what I try to do is I try my best to relay the information, try to adapt to what's going on, and try to make it a little bit more difficult for the guys on the other side. And what it also goes back to again is the importance of clearing. So if you can clear efficiently and effectively, that can aid you in being able to survive a little bit longer, hence the survival game reference once again. So the longer you can last, the better your chances are. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like the concept of attrition. So you have a better, I would say, opportunity for surviving or for getting that kill on maybe that one guy who probably took out maybe 5 guys on your team, if you're able to, you know, last a little bit longer and get that opportunity to avenge your team or to, you know, get that big score. What a lot of people tend to do 90% of the time is they opt to bring in their friends and to play together, which is really good. You know, if you have friends and you can communicate with your friends, and you know, they understand your style, you understand their style and your experience, that can also, you know, be really beneficial to you, unless maybe you're going up against some people that are really good and there's a huge skill gap, or if they're a little bit better, then maybe that whole entire experience can change. And then sometimes if it's not as competitive on either side, you know, it might not really work out the way you think it's going to work out. You know, it kind of depends. So and it's just so funny because I've seen this play out so many times, especially in bigger games, where I think right now at the main field that we're at here, you'll see games with people playing, I think it's what 10 instead of, and you do like a 4-way rotation instead of doing 20 on 20, but you get the idea, right? All it takes is that one link in the chain. If you have a bunch of people that are going out and maybe they're not really doing what they need to do and really pulling that weight, you can have a domino effect where now everyone's outnumbered. And when I say outnumbered, I'm talking about the ratio between experienced players to non-experienced, and that can also affect your gameplay experience. So you need to be able to adapt to the play style of other people that you don't know, because circumstances can always change, especially in CQB games, right? And those one life games. So keep that in mind. And even if you may not agree with a lot of the things that the other guys are doing, try your best to give of the necessary support. And this aspect can be extremely difficult for everyone, especially if you don't have that momentum shift. Another aspect I want to get into is working through your kit, and pretty much if you have malfunctions, failures, understand what works and what doesn't for you, and and when I say that, basically a lot of people, they get new kit or they buy things and they're not exactly sure about how to run them or how well they do run. So through trial and error, maybe sometimes you can kind of gain that information, and that can be provide a big boost to you. But if these things happen, they do happen all the time, they've happened to me, just try to work through them and then just kind of understand what happened, and in the future just kind of tailor your gear more over towards what you need. Unfortunately, not everything that is offered for sale really works effectively long term. So, as mentioned, before, just be wary of that and keep that in mind. So there are a lot of other factors that, I do want to cover in reference to CQB, but I'm going to save a lot of it for future videos that I will put out. I'm not exactly sure if this is going to be a one-off, and I do have some other cool content as well as some cool little bit of action bits there. So once again, for those of you guys who have any comments or concerns in reference to this or anything, you know what to do. Just drop your comments, give me feedback in terms of what you guys think and what you feel is relevant to the topic or to Airsoft overall. If you have any general questions, just be sure to kind of drop them and leave them there for sure. Once again, I'm very happy with the development of the channel, what's been going on, the feedback. I appreciate it a ton, guys. I can't say it enough. Thank you guys. You pretty much, the feedback makes a big difference, because I know exactly what I need to focus on. And in reference to that, all those other videos are coming in reference to what was mentioned before. I think the Glock accessories, someone also mentioned, I think, something about the GNP bolt, but I'll get into that probably when I post another video with some Mark 18 footage, and then I might do a comparison, maybe a review style comparison. But anyway, going back to that, any comments, any concerns, you know what to do. Drop them in the comments section. Let me know what you guys think, and I most likely will be putting out another video like this in the near future, so be on the lookout for that as well. That's also coming. In reference to gun reviews, I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to be doing any of them for a while. I'm pretty much stocked up at the moment, and I do have all the guns that I pretty much need necessarily, so we're going to be good on that for now. So once again, thank you guys so much for supporting and for watching the video. This is Tak Ashigarami TV as general. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that good jazz. Thank you guys so much for always supporting me, and stay safe, stay groovy, stay cool, take care, and see you.